Welcome to Life in the Urban City podcast, where life in the inner city meets the art of true stories and conversations, hosted by Eric Vasquez, founder and CEO of Justice for Youth. Here at Justice for Youth, we exist to mentor at Promise communities to develop as people, scholars, and leaders. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to Life in the Urban City podcast. Again, my name is Eric Vasquez, founder and director of Justice for Youth. And today we have a very, very special guest, my boy Danny here, man. So what's up, Danny? It's good to see you, bro.
It's good to see you too.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute since the it was over at the golf course, right?
Yeah, we had a little fundraiser, and you were one of our speakers, man. You did a great job there. And so in light of that, we wanted to get you in a more comfortable podcast setting and just have you tell your story, you know, a little bit more casual, right?
Yeah.
So, dude, I've gotten to know you a little bit. You know, I think you're a dope young person. You got so much promise in you, man. But for those of us who are kind of watching and meeting you for the first time on the podcast, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your story, a little bit about your life, man?
You know, I mean, there's a lot. Growing up, I mean, it was pretty harsh. Like, mom wasn't really there. Dad wasn't really there.
Where were you born? What area?
I was born in Whittier, and I was in Montebello for a little bit. And then I went to Phillips Ranch and then Pomona, stayed in Pomona, and now I'm back in Montebello. And then I might move to Huntington Park.
Yeah, so you said at an early age your moms and pops, they just weren't around?
Yeah, they were just, you know, little game bangers doing their thing, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. But I always looked at my grandma as my mother, you know. She took care of me. She's the one who bought me clothes, you know, put food on the table. My mom was there for my two sisters, you know. I was never really jealous. As long as my sisters were fine and they were doing good, then I was all for it, you know. But my mom, it wasn't really there with me and her. My real pops, he was never really in the picture. Do
you know the story behind why? Like,
I do know that. I don't know how it happened. When I first found out, I started laughing. But when my real mom and my pops, when they fell like in love, right? When they fell in love, they're from rival gangs. So I don't know how that even happened. Like,
hey, it happens, dog.
I was like, wow, what? I was like, and apparently they had gotten into an argument about it because once my mom had me, she was still into, like, you know, all that, like, you know, and in that picture of like, you know, I'm a big banger, blah blah blah, right? And my pops, he was like in the middle of like, nah, like I don't want to, and then I still want to. He was like on a gate, you know.
Yeah, doesn't know whether. That line, yeah.
And eventually, like, they had gotten to a big fight. I remember I was just little, and we had this house, like, and it was like on a corner street, and they just like they started fighting. They started going at it. My mom put me in the car. We just drove. I didn't see him like ever since.
How old were you at that time?
I was like 4. I was like 4, and like that's really like all I remember.
Yeah,
like, and it was just like, wow, you know.
And so I'm sure that has impacted your life to a degree. Like, what was life like? You said, you know, it's been rough.
Yeah.
You've had some difficulties. Can you break that down a little bit more for us, if you don't mind?
Yeah. Growing up, like, some difficulties was like obviously not having a pops. You know, like I didn't know how to. I didn't know whether like I didn't know how to be a man or how to, you know, I didn't know how to function. You know.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's just like, you know, I was crying. I was just like, I don't know who to go to, especially because like my mom was never there for me. So I had no one. My grandma, she's always been like a busy grandma, you know. So I didn't know like what to do. I didn't know how to fend for myself. And growing up, it's just like I always needed a male figure, you know. Like I feel like when it comes to a child, they're gonna need a male figure, a mother figure, like, you know, a female figure. Everyone's gonna need some type of figure, no matter what, you know. Like it's just like. You could do it on your own, but, you know, a child shouldn't have to do that at such a young age, you know. They shouldn't have to, like, worry about, you know, being hurt. They should just be having, you know, fun, living their life, you know. But I grew up with my sisters somewhat, but, you know, always with my mom and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, you know, fast forward, life with grandma. She was busy grandma.
Yeah, busy grandma.
Right.
Busy grandma.
So talk to me about middle school years and then, you know, moving into high school, because you're still in high school, right, dog? You're a sophomore, you told me. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe take me to middle school years, dog. What was that like? And those are in the P, right? You're here in Pomona at that time.
Yeah, in the P.
All right.
let me tell you, middle school. Oh my God, I think that was like the problem of my life. It was the prime. Like, I was a troublemaker. I was like, I was not good. Like, I was a bad kid. Like, eventually, like when I moved over here to the P, like my stepdad had took me in. He took me in for a bit, and like, you know, like I was excited. You know, I had a home. You know, like I was like, wow. You know, I had my own room, had my own bed. Everything was like, it was nice. It was like a new start, fresh new start. And so like I kind of took advantage of it. You know, like he would let me go out and stuff like that. And like my 7th grade year, it was COVID, so it was like going out wasn't really like
a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing. So it kind of got me mad because that's when I was like, you know, I had my own room, like, so I was like, damn, like, what am I supposed to do? But then it came the 8th grade year and we went back in person. There was still like, you know, like restrictions and stuff, but like I didn't care. Like I really didn't care. And like later on, they eventually like they started going a little easy, right? And I made some friends, and there was like these like 4 main friends. We had this little friend group. We go to the mall every weekend, and like I was just so troublesome. Like I remember I had gotten into like a little fight because like I was wearing this hat, and it was a gift from my friend's brother. And this kid, he smacked it off, right? He smacked it off. Man, I was just like, don't do it again. I was like, you might have just done it as a joke, but don't do it again. Like, I'm not messing with it. He did it again, and I just went at it. Like we're right next to the stairs too. Like I hit him. He started falling down the stairs. I got in trouble. I got in like big trouble. And then everyone like after that they were just like, damn, like he's a bad kid. And I was just like, it wasn't really like that.
Yeah.
But, and then after that, like I guess I kind of started acting out of control. You know, like I started just like, I ignored everyone. Like that's when I started to get like into drugs a little bit more than I was before. And like I would go out with friends like on the weekend. I would come home like late, like 2, 3 in the morning. There was times where I wouldn't even go back home for a couple of days. Yeah, like I was a troublemaker. I really was. Like, and then eventually like the school had just like found out a little bit about my story after like, because I had like, they had caught me with a knife in my backpack. So I was like, damn, like I messed up. Like I'm in some trouble. And I kind of told them a little bit about what was going on because I was having some like, you know, ideations, you know. So after they had like found out a little bit more about me, they were kind of just like a little more calm. They were trying to, you know, take care of me a little bit.
So do you mind me pressing in a little bit on that one? So, you know, at that season, it sounds like you were at a low to, right? Yeah. To some degree.
Oh yeah, 100%.
What do you think was like dominating, you know, the space of your mind? Like what was so burdensome, so heavy, so difficult for you? And one of the themes I hear consistently that's a part of your story is not having a place to stay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That was like, it was somewhat part of it. Cause when I did move with my stepdad, we were like, you know, always like fighting and stuff, you know? So it's just like, a big burden was the fact that I feel like everywhere I've ever stayed, I felt like I was unwanted, but they had to do it. So they were doing it. Because they felt like there was no other option for them, you know? So it's just like, I feel like that was definitely a big burden. I still didn't have my mom, you know, like, and I still don't. So it's just like, I was being bad. I had no one to tell me or like to slap me and be like, you know, like behave, fool, like, you know? I feel like that was a big burden because I do remember I would get in trouble a lot, like, and sometimes it was on purpose because I wanted someone to be like, hey, like, what are you doing? Behave, like, you know? I never had that, like, figure where it was just like, you know, like, what are you doing? Like, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like that was definitely a big burden. Like, I still never really, like, had someone even when I was there, you know?
Yeah. And that was just causing you to just be in a dark space.
Yeah.
Not feeling loved, not feeling wanted. Always feeling like a burden.
A lot of people were telling me, you know, you have a good life, you have your own room, this and that. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm not gonna take that for granted at all. But even like, it's just like I'm pretty sure we all know Kanye West, right? We all know Kanye West. Like, he still got problems of his own, and he's like over here rich. He's rich, like, you know, like, and apparently he has like a good life with like this big house, blah blah blah. Yeah. But he still got problems of his own, you know. Just because you got like a room of your own or like money doesn't always mean that your problems go away. You have a good life, you know. Yeah. It's not always like that.
So, you know, you come to middle school and then eventually go to high school. Yeah. And so, you know, the people around you were starting to notice like, hey, this cat's going through some things. Like maybe we should, you know, connect him to this program called On Point. And so I know you got referred to us to some, I think you were a freshman at that time, right?
Yeah, I was a freshman.
And so can you tell me just a little bit about the first time you met your mentor, who's your mentor at this time?
Chris, I love him to death.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris.
Chris was on our podcast recently, right?
Yeah.
We just had
Chris. Let me tell you that man saved my life more than I can tell you. I'll tell you that much.
Well,
and I legit mean saved my life. Like I legit mean it.
That's dope. Tell me the first time you met him. What was that like? You see this skinny little big bird looking fool, right?
He's like asking me all these questions. I'm like, this guy fed? Like what's going on, man? Like he's asking me all these questions. I'm like, who are you? Like you're just coming to me asking me all these questions. Stuff like that. I was like, and like he was coming off easy. Like he was very easy. He's always been like coming off easy, trying to take care of me. I'm just like what do you want from me? Like why are you trying to take care of me? Like you want something in return? Like what's up? Because it's just like I'm not used to someone to like just trying to help me and like so because it was never like that. And my first impression was just like I don't trust him. He wants something. Like this program wants something out of me. That And I was just like, nah, I'm not trusting it. And like I remember he was like, it's all up to you. You don't have to do this and that. And I was just so close to being like, nah, I don't want to do it. I was so close to it. And then like that was my first impression. That's how it happened.
So now you thought he was a weirdo, thought he was a fed, but then something about his tone, something about his approach, something about him giving you an option to choose, right? Just kind of kept you around long enough. And can you maybe talk about the evolution of that relationship?
Of that relationship.
Yeah, like how did that develop over time? How did your mind change about
eventually,
him?
Like I gave in because it's just like I wasn't used to help. So at first, obviously, I was like what's going on here? And it was just like, well, I've never gotten help. So if I'm like, if someone's giving me the option to be able to be helped, it's just like I might as well take it because it's just like I never got the option before. So it's just like it might be a risk, but I'm willing to take it because I've always asked for help.
Yeah.
And I never got it. And eventually he was like, all right, we're gonna meet, like these days every week, and we'd meet all the time, and eventually I was just like, this guy's like, he's chill, and it was just like it was evolving like a Pokemon, how they evolve and stuff like that. It was like that. That's how
I don't know, dog. You don't school me up, dog. I'm not up on Pokemon, dog.
No, it's because like when they evolve, it's just like they become better and stronger, So it's like that's how our relationship was.
Yeah.
It evolved better and stronger, and it was like eventually it was just like when people would ask me like who my male figure was, I would say Chris, without a doubt. Not 99.99% was 100%. More than 100, like it was just like. It was always Chris. Chris. No matter what, like at the new school that I'm at right now, like I got in some trouble. My first it was like my second day. I was telling them about Chris, how like he takes care of me and stuff, like he's always been there, no matter what,
Yeah. So how does that feel, bro? To be like looked out for. I use this language, accompanied, like no matter what season of life you're going through, there's this accompaniment that's happening. There's a mentor, a positive adult figure in your life who is just staying steady. And it doesn't matter, how long, as long as you would have him in your life, he's gonna be there, you know? How does that feel, dog?
It's a feeling I can't even describe. It really is. Like, it makes me feel like it's just like, and it makes me like, how do I put it? The company that I'm be given to, the help that I've been given to, I'm gonna pass it on, cause I never got it. So it was just like it gave me euphoria, right? And it's just like the feeling that I have now from all that help is just like, I'm passing this on, because I know there's kids that need it,
Yeah, and you're still a kid, dog. You're still a youngster. So I want you to talk about this. Like you talked about, okay, I'm sure at some point the evolution of the relationship happened, and like. You've probably grown, right, since the moment that your mentor entered your life till now. But it doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. You talked about your second day at your new school.
Yeah.
You got into some issues. And so with that steady mentor presence, knowing that you're not going to be perfect, how does that help you kind of look at things different when you do have hiccups?
It's just like, it makes me look back. It's just like, all right, like Chris has taught me this, use it. Like there's methods I can use, right? Instead of like, let's say like I didn't just act out when I got in some trouble over there, right?
Yeah.
I could have looked back and been like, all right, Chris, help me, calm down. Use that method, right?
Yeah.
Help myself, right? Right? Like, it's just like, when I have hiccups, it's just like, I already did it, obviously, right? It's a hiccup, right? I don't want to look back when I already did the hiccup. I'm trying to do it before I make the hiccup on its own,
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't really make too much hiccups, right? But
Okay.
nobody's perfect. So
Yeah.
obviously, like, I'm gonna make hiccups, but like this program and my mentor have definitely like taught me, like, chill out before you make the hiccup,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's something I'm definitely grateful for.
That's good, man. So, talking about this, can I tell you the story, the origin of this value of accompaniment?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. There's this dude, his name's Paul Farmer.
Mm-hmm.
He's passed on, and they actually just recently made a documentary about him called Bending the Arc. So if you have a chance, bro, look it up, Bending the Arc. It will inspire you.
Do you know where it's on?
It's all over.
Oh,
just
okay.
type it in, bro. You'll find it. But this cat from young age, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a doctor. And so he would fly to Haiti on the weekends, care for the poorest people in the world, and do it in such a way, such a humane, respectful way. And he talked about this value of accompaniment. As a doctor, he said he'd sit by the bedside of these sick Haitians and he'd say, hey, my name is Paul and I'm going to be your doctor for a little while. And by a little while, I mean a long while. And so he would see them through the diagnoses. Mm-hmm. He'd treat them. And then sometimes he would unfortunately see them to death. And so as young people, whether we want to look at that metaphorically or literally, I think in our communities, there's a real threat. And I call these things to life, right? A real threat to life. And sometimes we lose young life, right? And I call these things stupid deaths. That's actually what Paul Farmer calls it, because he would say in Haiti, there was lack of access to just basic healthcare. Mm-hmm. And those things that we have in the US would like save somebody, just a pill, one pill, and you'd be cured.
Yeah.
And they just don't have that. So these people are dying, and he called those stupid deaths. And from a mentoring perspective, that pill, that cure, in my perspective, is mentors. Mm. And as we accompany people, we give them access to that cure. And it's just a human, a loving person who's consistent. Unfortunately, sometimes we intervene and we don't get to see everybody through the seasons. Sometimes we see them through death. And I know that that's something that Chris has done in your life with some of our homies, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, I heard you lost a friend.
My brother.
Yeah, your brother. And so can you tell us a little bit about the season of that horrible tragedy and how Chris has supported you through that? And what has that been like for you then and now? And my condolences. I know I've shared that, but my condolences, yeah.
It was deeper than rock bottom, deeper than the Marianas Trench. It was like, to me, it was deeper than hell. It was deep. It was deep, like, I remember, like, I was like, the next day, I was like, I got to go to school. I got to take care of these kids. Because it's just like, when everyone found out, they started texting me like, hey, sorry for your loss, right? Because in everyone's eyes, I was like a duplicate of Omar, right? Because we were always together. Mm-hmm. I was always at his house, every weekend, every day after school, all the time.
What happened, Omar? Without getting too much into the details.
One night, we're going, or he's going, sorry, my bad. Get a present for our little sister. Her birthday's coming up, right? They get into an altercation with some kids, right? I'm not going to say the street.
Yeah, that's why I said no details, yeah.
Altercation happens. And, shot 3 times chest, and from what I've heard, apparently, like, he didn't feel it too much. He was like, oh, am I okay, right? But yeah, he got shot. Life was taken too early. Beautiful boy. That's my beautiful boy. That's my brother.
How old was he?
15.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
15.
Young life lost.
Yeah. But a lot of young kids lose their lives, and my condolences to all their families. There was just a kid at Montebello High, got shot and killed. Over in Boyle Heights. Yeah, it was sad. Yeah, sad. There's like, I feel like I've definitely started to see a lot like from last year, and it's just the beginning of this year. I know a lot of young kids my age that have already died. Yeah, and that's sad.
So how
They're
did you
just kids.
how did you cope with the death of Omar, and who has been a support to you? I'm sure Chris has been, right?
Yeah. It took me a long time to cope. Like I was saying, the first day I was like, I have to go take care of these kids, you know. And then like after that day, like, cause I had no time to myself. I was taking care of everyone. I was just sobbing. I was weak, you know. I'm giving my strength, my soul, like giving my aura, like my positivity to everyone, trying to help, you know, like, cause that's what I do, right? Like I said, I want to pass on the help, you know. That's what I do. The next day, I went to the office. I was like, I need some time alone. I was crying. I got up and I fell on the floor. I couldn't get up. I couldn't. Blacked out. Cool minute. They checked my vitals because the vice principal, she knew that like I was doing drugs, and like she was trying to help me just like Evan was in the program. And she was like, are you on anything? Because I was acting weird. I was acting a little weird, you know. And like I started taking drugs again, like deeply. Like I stopped doing my work, stopped going to school. I stopped doing a lot. And then eventually I just started. I was like, you know, like I'm tired of crying. Like I can't keep on crying. Can't keep on having Omar see me like this. I can't. And then eventually, you know, like Chris was there. Chris was there like all the time, there for me. The vice principal, and then everyone eventually after they were, you know, healing, everyone was starting to be there for me. And that helped because I knew I had a tribe with me. You know, it wasn't just one person, two people, three people. I had a tribe. They were looking out for me because it was just like they already knew that I was giving them my positivity and I was looking out for them. So now it's their turn, you know?
Yeah.
And all that positivity, checking in, that's what helped me. That's what helped me. Like I didn't have any coping methods. I just had people with me. That's like, it's just like, that's something that definitely I seen. I was like, yeah, this is family. Yeah. This is family for sure. And I feel like for me, like the first to always portray was family, you know? I feel like the family that I make and I see is going to be the most important family to me in my life.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
So you talk a lot about these really good characteristics of Chris. Can you share, you know, to mentors who are watching, people like Chris, people like me who are working with youngsters like you, what are some things that we should really consider repping, cultivating in our lives, embodying as mentors that are important to young people like you? You know, you talked about him being real calm, Christian. You talked about him being steady. Like, what are some other things that you think are important qualities of a mentor from your perspective?
Okay. Like I said, he's calm, but maybe there's some, maybe, you know, I don't know, but maybe there's some mentors that are a little hard, maybe, like, you know, like hard love, you know, the saying hard love. Maybe some of their kids are just like, their hard love isn't their thing, you know, but he's the only mentor I've ever had. So in my opinion, he's perfect, obviously, you know, like he's helped me. But I think you need to watch out, like, for everything. Body language, whether they keep on texting you or not, whether they're checking in with you or not, the way they're acting, the way they're starting to dress, you know, the way they're starting their routines of the day. And like I think like every small thing, it turns into a big thing, right? You know, it's just like the small details is what matters a lot. You know?
So mentors need to be paying attention to the details.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
like
good.
The very small things, you know.
That's good. And conversely, on the other side, what would you be sharing to young people like you who might be on the fence about like, hey, do I want to get a mentor? Should I join this program? Like, I don't know. I have these trust issues. You know, like, what would you say to young people that are kind of like towing that line, that are on the fence about that?
Well, I mean, you guys are watching this, obviously, right? So it's just like, look at me, bro. I share my story. I came from like, you know, always being in like, you know, like I had nowhere to go, had no family. And it's just like, I have a family now. Like, you know, my mentor has just like, because I remember at the funeral, everyone was like, hey, who's that? I was like, it's my brother / my dad. Brother/dad. Like the help is something that you can't comprehend. I'm going to tell you that now. You cannot comprehend that. It's like, it's a help that I don't think you'll really be able to find a lot. I believe you could you could find that help, but specifically with Just Us for Youth, bro, the help here is just, it's magnificent. It's something that like it'll walk into your soul, and like it's just like it'll help you. It'll help you as a person. It'll help you in like every portion of your life, 100%. And that's what I truly believe. You know, like it's just, this has helped me grow. It's like I said, like I don't really consider myself like a youngster, although I am age-wise. I think like from a lot, like I think I'm just like a very young man. You know, like you know, old spirit type of thing. You know.
Yeah.
Like it's just like this program has helped me grow. Like I remember like from when I first met Chris, it was just like I was a little boy, man, and now it's just like it's different.
Mind you, it's only been like a year and a half.
Right? Yeah.
But you got like a mustache now, dog, right? You got, nah, I'm just like
I wish. Nah, I've been shaving trying to get it in, man. I'm telling you, but it's not growing. It's not growing, man. So. But
no, I feel you though, because like life has a way of like speeding you up and maturing you. I mean, how many young people do we know have to worry about where they're going to sleep at night?
No, yeah.
How many young people have to worry about like, is mom home? Is dad home? Are they in the streets? Like you've wrestled with drug addiction. You've wrestled with, you know, lack of support, like your academic journey. You know, you've lost a friend, a brother, you know, like you've had to see the harsh realities of that young life, that breath, you know, leave that body and see him in the casket. Like, you know, I lost my brothers as well, both of them.
For that, sorry.
And so I know exactly that's like, and that has a way of maturing you, you know, and speeding up that process, and you grow wise. And so I think having a growth mindset is something that you embody for sure. And that's something that I always want to mentor my people in, is like, dude, you could be on this side of the fence where, you know, you let your trauma define you, or you could be on the other side of the fence and you let your trauma shape you. Mm-hmm. And develop you and strengthen you. And so a little bit about my story is, you know, I've lost both my brothers, bro. They were both young when they passed, you know, rest in peace to my brothers. And that, you know, was so hard. I literally still remember the smell of the makeup they had while they were in their caskets. You know, like I can't, sometimes when my daughters are putting on makeup, like it triggers me back to the visuals of that day. And it's hard, dog. Like those things have beaten me up, but at the same time, like, bro, that's why I'm so like on my grind with this mentor game, because I think if I could invest in that one Jonathan, my brother, you know, like maybe, just maybe he won't lose his life. Right? If I could walk with that one Larry, my brother, like maybe we can avoid a stupid death, you know? And that has been 20 years of my life, you know, where I've been running hard after young people of promise that often slip through the cracks. Mm-hmm. And so you represent the thousands of amazing young people that I've been blessed to walk with. And Christian and I were talking about you and others. And like you guys have invited us into your lives and your stories, and that has forever changed us, man. Like we learned so much and admire and respect you all in a way that I don't think you guys truly understand. Like it's truly a blessing to be in your guys' lives. So I think it's this beautiful exchange that's happening.
Yeah, like Chris has said, like it's just like he's told me before, it's like he doesn't think he's the only mentor. He thinks it's just like, it's both ways. Because he says that I've helped him a lot. You know, I've helped him see and grow as well. So he says he thinks, it's the same way. It's like an exchange, you know?
Yeah. So this last question, because we don't have too much time here, man. I want to hear, for the viewers especially, like, where do you see yourself, man, in a couple years? Like, what's your vision and your dream for your life, dog?
I see myself in a couple years. I see myself doing my best in college. I see myself at Fullerton. See myself graduating, and I see myself becoming a therapist.
That's dope, bro. Yeah, we believe in you, man. We know that that's in your destiny and on the horizon. So for all the viewers, I know you're going to be in our thoughts and our prayers, dog. And just know, like you've said, you've referenced, you got a whole village behind you, dude, you know, a whole community in your corner. And so we want to thank you, man, for joining this podcast. I know a lot of the viewers are going to want to follow up with you and see an update on your life. So we'll definitely stay connected. But to all of those that are watching the podcast, man, thank you for joining us. We're going to have many, many other students join us just like Danny. And you're going to hear some dope stories. And from our from a mentoring perspective, we're hoping to develop you and give you these nuggets of wisdom. And then if you're a youngster out there, man, keep tuning in because, you know, there's going to be so many stories that I know will resonate and connect with you. So we appreciate you all. Stay tuned.